Hey, welcome back to BK Garage. If you watched my previous videos from my last trip to Vegas, you saw what happened to my trailer with the frame starting to tear apart at all the suspension mounting points. It's just not built heavy enough, and that one's not going to go on another long trip like that. So I've replaced it. The old trailer was a 24-foot bumper pull. I picked up a used 48-foot fifth wheel hitch. It's about a 20-year-old trailer, but it's extremely well built. Nice heavy frame under it. There's no rust in the undercarriage. A few bumps and bruises on the sides, but nothing serious. It's got a bunch of old sponsor decals on it. Those are going to have to come off. Triaxle Torflex suspension under it. It'll be a lot nicer than the leaf springs on the other trailer. The fella I bought it from was using it to haul a pair of dragsters, so they had this extra beaver tail added onto the door and have it kind of up on stilts just to get the angle down. Made the door really heavy, so he's got a winch on it to lift it. You can't lift it by hand. So I'm going to pull all that off. I don't need it. Try and lighten the door up a little bit. Inside you can see where he had his E-track attached to the floor for tying down his wheels on his cars. I hauled the car in it the other night, and this linoleum is so slippery when you got snow on your tires. I'm going to pull it all out. It's starting to peel up anyway. There's all kinds of cabinets and holders for their various race equipment. Pulling all that stuff off so the walls are a little cleaner. Clean the inside up a bit. I'm going to pull all the cabinets out and move them from the side up to the front by the bed. This couch is going to come out too. Once I do that, I'll have room to get two cars in here nose to tail. It's all set up for a generator or to plug into an outlet. All wired 110 volt power, plugs inside. Floodlights on the outside for working at night. Got everything off the walls now. Pulled out all the cabinets that I want to move. Some of the flooring peeled up. I'm going to leave the rest until after the walls are painted. It's really sticky from the leftover adhesive once I peel it up. And pull out all the E-track and other old tie downs out of the floor. It's time to do a little masking and paint the walls. Well, there's the first coat of paint on the interior of the trailer, other than right up at the front where the mattress is. Catch that part later. This cover, not bad. Took exactly a gallon of paint to do that. I'm just using exterior house paint. Definitely brighten it up in here. There, the E-tracks are all laid out and the holes are all pre-drilled. We'll take them back out and finish peeling up the old flooring now. There we have it, the flooring's all peeled out. Only took about 4.5 hours. You can hear me sticking to the floor when I walk from all the glue that's left. So now I'm going around and filling up all the old holes from where the previous owners had stuff bolted down with silicone. Probably about 50 of them to fill in the floor. One more little upgrade I'm making. Man doors just had those RV style latches on them. They're convenient and quick, but they're not very secure. So I'm adding these bar latches. Just makes it a little easier to lock the trailer up. So there's structure in the door frame here that I'm bolting them through. And the bar latches are all installed. I like those a lot better. They're a lot more secure and easier to lock. So there's the mess that's left once the decals come off. It really bit into the paint in places. These ones were really bad. Where they'd started peeling on their own already, they took the paint with them. So here's the fix. So I got all the glue off, I sanded everything down. Went right down to the aluminum where the lettering was. Just used the feather edger and got it smoothed out. Gave the rest of the paint around it a scuff. Here's one that's already painted. The decal's all peeled nicely off the back without taking any paint. So I thought I'd try hitting it with the buffer and some heavy compound and see what happens. Quite a difference. Looks like I'm polishing the whole trailer now. Well, it's coming. What a job polishing that. But it's definitely worth it. I still see where there's some old adhesive from decals that were on it years ago. Can't find anything that'll take that off without taking the paint with it, so I guess those ones are going to stay. The spots that I repainted blend in not too bad now. I have to get my scaffold out to do that part. I can't reach it from the floor. Just finished up the last few things inside. Still need to clean up in here, but otherwise it's done. So mounted a bike rack up in the gooseneck, so we can take our bikes with us on trips. Tie downs, and those are all screwed through the frame. Underneath my bench, got a winch and a battery maintainer. So whenever the trailer is plugged in either to an outlet or to a generator, that maintainer can run and top up the batteries. I also added a second deep cycle battery into the trailer to give me a little more capacity with the winch in between charges. So we put bulkhead fittings through the wall out to the batteries, and also put in a dead man switch. So the 12 volt power to the trailer is also wired through that, as well as the winch. Wheel bearing time. Jacked the trailer up and gave them a spin. They had a lot of play in them, and I have no idea how many miles are on these bearings, so I thought I'd pull them apart and replace them. Just driving the races out right now. hard to see on camera. Just as I turn that, you can see that line in there. That race is starting to fail. Find that all the time with offshore bearings. They will eat each other. North American made ones don't seem to do that. There, you can see that spot better. I don't have a race driver big enough for these inners. So what I do is I take the old race and stack it on top of the new one and use it to hit the new one down into place. You can also set a piece of steel on top of the old one and hit there. The old one will stick, but as long as you put it in the proper way, you can get your punch in behind there from the other side and pop it out without damaging the new race. I got the other side of the trailer polished. Came out pretty good. It's got a few bumps and bruises and dings. A few places that had some cracks at corners of doors and windows. So I used panel bond on them. Somebody had tried to silicone them before and they didn't hold. See how this does going down the highway, but I think it'll hold up a lot better. I also had to replace a bunch of rivets in the lower trim. Some of that stuff was getting pretty loose, so I drilled out all the rivets and put new ones in. I got the gooseneck hitch changed out for a kingpin so I can use my fifth wheel hitch in my truck. I polished the front, but it's going to need to be sanded and repainted. There's a lot of road rash on it. That'll happen at a later date. Few things to put away inside yet, but for the most part it's done. Packing all the tools and parts in. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, please like, share, subscribe, tell your grandma. I'll see you on the next one.